Right, today we're going to look at the different economic systems. Okay, first of all, what is an economy? An economy is the production and distribution of goods and services. Okay, so we've got a definition here. An economy is a system in which people produce, exchange and consume goods and services. Obviously, the production, you need consumption, so there needs to be the consumption in there. And the distribution, there's the exchange. So the production, distribution of goods and services gives us a very simple idea of what is an economy. But to really go into detail, you need to talk about exchange and the consumption of goods and services, which are taken for granted. Now, in an economy, we've got three questions that have to be asked. First of all, what do you produce? Then, how do you produce it? And then, who do you produce it for? So those three questions must be answered by the economic system in place. There are three types of economic systems that human beings have invented. We've got the free market economic system, the planned economic system, and the mixed economies. We're going to go into what exactly we mean by this, but just to begin, the free market is, all the resources, production and distribution is organised by private people, groups of people or individuals. And planned economic system is the opposite. Everything is organised and done by the government, by the public face of society. So the private person or groups don't produce and distribute. So it's the opposite. That's the private people, and this is the public organisation of the system. And in the mixed economy, you have the protagonists, which are both private and public, when we're talking about production and distribution. Okay, so here the mixed economy is a bit of both of the old systems. So the first system was the free market system, and then the planned system evolved from that, and then in the end we settled with a mixed system which we have today, a mixed economy. Now we're going to look more in detail into the different systems. So the free market economic system, all the decisions are made by privates, and all the production is owned by privates. So they own the means of production, the private people, private firms, it could be organisations, but also individuals. We can see all these different organisations that are private. You've got Cadbury's, McDonald's here, a lot maybe we won't recognise, Sky, a lot of English, Coca-Cola. All these are private organisations working for profit, not working for the government, but working for the interests of private people looking to make profit. In a free market economic system, you have a market. Now, the market brings together the consumers and the producers. So we talk about different markets like the housing market, the oil market, the consumer market, the clothes market. We're not talking about a physical market, a concrete market. We're talking about something abstract, just all the producers and consumers which come together, and this is where the price of a product is decided, and the quantity and who gets what in the market. So the market decides the three questions: what to produce, who to produce, how to produce, and who to produce for. We'll look a bit more about that. The market is very important. The market works for profit. People produce with the intention of making money, making profit. That's fundamental for the markets. So deciding what, how and for whom to produce. So for example, if a firm wants to make maximum profit, and they do because they're in competition, you have competition in markets, and they're in competition, so they have to really try to maximise their profits so they can invest more and grow. Otherwise they disappear, they go bankrupt, they fail. If they see prices falling, maybe they move their resources into products where the prices are rising. So for example, if they're producing shoes and they see the prices falling but the prices of boots rising, they'll start producing boots. This is how they decide what to produce. They follow the price mechanism. This decides what to produce. How to produce also is decided by the price mechanism, because they'll want to produce in the cheapest possible way to maximise the profit. Again, markets are about profit. And who to produce for is decided by the price mechanism. It's those who want the product and can buy the product, so they have the money. This is important. So they want the product and can buy. And that's how it's decided who to produce for. So that's the free market economic system where there's no government intervention. Called government intervention. There's no government which makes rules or takes taxes or has any influence. It's the free market is very rare. Most markets are controlled a little bit and pay taxes, but the free market system we can see more pre the Depression, before the big depression in America in the 30s, which collapsed because it had no control. In the end it collapsed. But that's how it works. Now the planned economic system is a very rough overview, obviously. The planned economic system, all the decisions are made by the government. So the government owns the means of production, owns the factories, owns the farms, everything, and also the distribution, all the shops, all the wholesalers, grossetti, are owned by the government, and the government organise everything from the centre, from the ministries. Maybe in the Soviet times they had a planned economy. It was Moscow that decided what to produce, how to produce, and who to produce for. So if you wanted something, then maybe if you wanted a car, a very expensive resource, then you would go on a list, a graduatoria, and have to wait for a car. Same with a house. Or if you wanted some food, maybe you would have some a book or money, given money by the government every month, and you could go and buy your food from the local government shop. But it's all planned by the government. The whole system is planned and organised by the government. If we look at the free market system, we can think everything's planned and organised by private people according to a mechanism, this price mechanism. So there's no control. Here, the government controls everything. We'll be looking at these things in a much more detailed way later on. Yeah, we can think of the Soviet system, where you have the ministries, we can see all the bureaucracy. Imagine if you've got to organise a whole economy, what people want and who gets what and how to produce, all decided by Moscow, by the Ministry of Production or something. That was how a planned system worked, and that didn't work very well either. That was very inefficient and ineffective and didn't produce good quality. So the mixed system evolved. The mixed system is where you've got the free market and also government production of certain services. Like, for example, the government produces water and distributes the water, produces water, organises the water system, or public transport, or hospitals. But also you have the free market, for example, Fiat or Ferrero Rocher. These are private organisations in the free market, and in the mixed system the government also intervenes a lot in the free market with regulations and taxes and also subsidies too. So those three things are how it intervenes in the free market, but it also produces a lot of services and also products in the mixed system, which is what we see in Italy at the moment. In most of the world, we see a government which is very active, a big protagonist in the economy, as well as a free market which is much freer and is less controlled, and a mechanism organises, this price mechanism organises what to produce, how to produce and who to produce for. Okay, so it's important to remember we've got this mixed system, which is a mix of free market system and the planned economic system. We can have much more government intervention and government production in some economies and much less in others. Like, for example, in America, the government does a lot. In America, the government does very little in the economy. The hospitals are all private. The buses are all private and transport's all private. Even the rubbish collection is private. In Italy, the government does a lot. So we've both got mixed systems, but with different composition of protagonism, according to our political philosophy. In Italy, you believe in a stronger, bigger government, where the government is very present in education. A lot, the best schools are public schools, public as in schools, state schools, and also the hospitals. They spend a lot of money on hospitals. All the transport, all the refuge collection, all public. Also the water is public. In England, the water system is private. So you can have a mixed system with a different mix of public and private, according to a political philosophy. Tends to be the more left philosophy, the more socialist philosophy, tends to go towards more public ownership and production. And the more right the philosophy, the more liberalist the philosophy, tends to go more towards the free market, private ownership and profit, which they both have different advantages and disadvantages. Just generally, we can imagine the advantages of the right, this free market, this freedom to produce and distribute. You do have a tendency of a lot of innovation and progress, development, development in products and variety. In a country where there is more production by the government, maybe you don't have such choice and such fast evolution of the economy, such dynamism, but you do have much more protection for the poor, so you're kept more together as a society. There's a stronger feeling of society and a bit more equality between people. So you don't have, very, very rich people and very, very poor people. You're much more together, living in the same reality, going to the same schools and the same hospitals. Very different. It can create a very different reality if the mix is more towards a private ownership and profit and market oriented economy.